Hi, I am Micah Swindell. I am in the Study Buddy group, and I'm the security lead. This is going to be my individual presentation. This is my table of contents for what I'm going to be going through in this presentation. The project tools, my individual contribution to those, my contributions to the decisions and the implementations of those, and finally, the self-evaluation. These are the different tools that we used. The first being Google Drive. This just housed all of our documents and sheets and PowerPoints and everything. So in that we had our work log, our list of our known bugs, and all of our deliverables. We used GitHub to store our code base and manage version control, as everybody does. We used Trello to create user cases, which let us track our progress and distribute tasks. We use Discord for our weekly meetings and general communication. And for the deployment of our website, we used Vercel and Prisma. Vercel was the deployment platform, and Prisma allowed us to interface with our database. For my individual contribution to these tools, in the Google Drive, I logged all the work that I did and the steps that I completed during those hours. From some of the general testing and security testing I did, I added some bugs to our list of known bugs document. And for our different presentations, I contributed to the security and hardware specifications aspects of it, and I did some slides for the criticisms of our projects in the presentations. In Discord, I took part in all of our weekly meetings and just general communication. In Trello, on some of our use cases, I was able to add some steps that would need to happen as far as the back end goes so that we could track our progress with each step. GitHub is holding all of our code that was built on the Vercel and Prisma platforms, and I worked with Cameron to set up local test instances of our website so that I could use it for development on the back end with our database. And in our GitHub, we have a little wiki section of how to set up this test instance. So these are some of my contributions in the Google Drive. On the left, we have our work log that I have logged whenever I was doing anything with our database. Some of the things I did not log, however, were just general meeting things, and whenever I was working on some of the deliverables, such as our slideshow and all that, this is more of just a technical work log, for me at least. On the top, we have a little snippet of our known bugs logs, and those were some that I worked with our test lead Nathan to add to. And in the bottom, we have one of the slides from our presentation, which is one of the ones I helped contribute to. So on our Trello board, this is one of our use cases. This is one of the really basic ones where we just wanted somebody to be able to log in securely. And with this being one of the ones that involved some sign of security, I was able to add some steps of what I needed to do on the back end. With this being like the very first one, it just needed some steps, like me creating the database and creating different users and setting it up and on the network for us to be able to connect to in a safe way. This is a little snippet of our GitHub repo, and that is the little section that me and Cameron worked on that just have something marked down that so that we knew the steps to creating a test instance of our site, mainly so that I could use it for database testing purposes. So now for the contributions to the different decisions and the implementation of those. I think I played a big role in some of the decisions we made of what aspects of our system we were going to host locally and which ones we were going to have online solutions for. Initially, I was on the side of wanting to host the database and the web server and as much as we could locally so that we had the majority of the work. But ultimately, we decided to just host our database locally, as if we were to do the web server, it would have delayed some of the front-end development when we would have been waiting on having our web server set up. A lot of the decisions that I helped with were also in the very beginning of our project, whenever we were trying to trim down the scope of what we wanted Study Buddy to be. A lot of our ideas were very abstract and we couldn't all agree on what exactly we wanted it to be. And I think I helped everyone kind of narrow down what exactly we wanted to do. As far as our platform being a one-on-one messaging service as well as a per class forum board. A lot of my personal involvement was creating and hosting of our database locally. I wanted to host this locally mainly because as the security lead, that would give me a lot of things I could do when setting up and managing this database. In addition to this database, as the security lead, I performed code review and some security testing from the front end. But with our distribution platforms being through another service, there was only so much testing I could do. As far as my self-evaluation goes, I think I did a fair amount of work, and I'm happy with how everything went with my undertaking of creating our database. With Cameron being the lead of our front-end development, that let me kind of focus just on getting things set up on the back end and connecting it to what he was doing. Like I had said, I wanted to take on this portion of our system since I was the security lead. I could have a lot of control over everything as far as users go and user permissions on the database level and the machine level. So I could kind of set all of this up and have security by design. And with this, I could also control everything that was around the database as far as network configurations go. On that side of my responsibilities, I'm happy with how everything did, and I think I did a fair job with that. Some areas that I think I could have done a little bit more in was with our security testing and some of the code review. I did some code review to see how some things were being handled on the front end as far as variables go and how those were getting inserted into our database. But as far as the testing goes, there was only so much that I could do with our web servers not being hosted locally. Since we were using another deployment platform, being Vercel, there was a lot of security that was built in using that. And since I don't own any of the systems that's being performed through, I can't do all the kinds of testing I would have wanted to. A little bit of the testing that I did do was entering things on the front end to see how they were getting passed on to our database, like I said. With our website having forum boards and messaging and text boxes that are getting stored for users to view, cross-site scripting is definitely something that needed to be looked at. And in addition to this, I did some testing with that and looked at how our URLs were constructed and cookies were passed in and everything. But from what I could tell, Vercel did a good job of managing user inputs and variables and things like that. So yeah, I think that's just about everything. Thank you for watching my individual presentation. Bye.